Consistently having threesomes when you're married is one of the biggest indications that your marriage is gonna fail. What makes this so crazy is that Kandi was just on someone's podcast bragging that her and her husband had a threesome not that long ago. You can't let someone else in your marriage and expect your marriage to last.
For months, everyone thought Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker were doing the impossible, ending their marriage quietly, respectfully, and without the usual celebrity chaos. No long breakup posts, no explosive interviews, no blame being tossed around online. Just a simple court filing, calm faces, and the illusion of two people who peacefully drifted apart. But that calm image didn't last long once those courtroom doors shut. The truth didn't trickle out. It detonated. What went down inside wasn't some polite separation, it was a calculated breakdown. And right at the center of all that drama was one recording, just 15 seconds long, that didn't just tear apart Todd Tucker's legal case, it wrecked the public image he had built for years. Suddenly, every warning Mama Joyce had ever given started to sound way too real. Welcome back to Gossip Chemistry, the spot where pop culture meets real talk, and where we break down every jaw-dropping moment. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss a single drop when the next scandal breaks. The divorce kicked off on November 21st, 2025. The filing looked quiet, almost surgical. No press conference, no emotional farewell messages, nothing for the blogs to chew on, just perfectly timed paperwork. But silence like that doesn't come from confusion, it comes from planning. People close to them had been whispering for years that something felt off, that tension was building behind the cameras, that arguments never truly died down but froze into distance. Still, no one saw this kind of explosion coming. What looked like a simple breakup turned into one of the most intense and talked about divorce battles reality TV has ever witnessed.
$1 million to her soon-to-be ex-husband, Todd Tucker. Because if you guys remember in season 8, when they talked about the prenuptial agreement, she agreed to give Todd $100,000 for every year they were married. And she agreed to also give him $1 million if they were married for at least 3 years. So they were married for 11 years, so that's $1.1 million. And I don't know, she agreed that if they were married for at least 3 years, she would throw another million on that. So is that $2.1 million? But either way, they definitely had some things substantiated in this prenup. Kandi, of course, was also asking, I believe, for joint physical and legal custody with the children. And she also included child support and said she'd let the courts decide that. It also looks like they both have some debt. So I wonder if Todd is going to do an offset and try to get her to pay his bills, his debt, before he allows the divorce to go through. And I wonder if he's going to go along with the prenuptial agreement or try to contest it, because we know he wasn't that happy.
From the very first hearing, it was clear Todd Tucker didn't step into that courtroom brokenhearted. He came in ready for war. His legal team showed up stacked with documents and an energy that screamed, "We're here to fight." The moment they got the floor, they didn't hold back. They fired off demands for full custody, spousal support, and child support. But then came the real bomb, the challenge to the prenup. The way it hit the room was wild, not just because of what he asked for, but how fast he dropped it, like he'd been saving that card for the perfect strike. Todd said he was pressured into signing the prenuptial agreement just a day before the wedding. No lawyer, no time, no real choice. He claimed he was forced, manipulated, and cornered, using every word meant to pull sympathy straight from the judge's heart.
By now you've heard that Todd, who is Todd? And Kandi Burruss from Real Housewives of Atlanta are getting a divorce, and apparently Todd wants to challenge the prenup, so let's see if he has a case. Maybe he signed the prenup under duress, maybe the prenup was unfair, maybe he has an argument. Roll the clip.
I decided to sign the prenup against my lawyer's advice. Against my lawyer's advice. In the end, I know all this legal stuff is not going to keep me from being with Kandi.
Okay, maybe it gets better. Let's keep watching.
You believe that the provisions of the prenuptial agreement are fair, just, reasonable, and equitable.
Yes.
You are signing the prenuptial agreement freely and voluntarily without coercion or other undue influence by wife or any third party.
Yes.
Case closed, request denied, appeal denied. And next time your lawyer tells you not to sign something, maybe you should listen.
What really caught everyone off guard wasn't what Todd said, it was how he said it. There was no hint of pain, no real emotion, not even a crack in his voice. Everything came out smooth, polished, like a speech he'd practiced 100 times. The tone wasn't broken, it was calculated. And while he was talking, the judge's eyes kept drifting toward Kandi, not because she interrupted or tried to defend herself, but because she didn't move a muscle. No tears, no deep sighs, no shaking her head. Just calm, steady stillness. The kind that doesn't come from anger, but from someone completely done. She looked like a woman who already knew how this story would end, and she wasn't there to fight it. She was there to finish it. As the hearings went on, the courtroom vibe got heavy, like a vault of secrets finally cracking open. Things that fans thought were ancient Bravo gossip started spilling out into official testimony. The Porsche argument, back on the table. The wild threesome talk, brought up word for word. Even rumors that once lived only on shady gossip blogs were suddenly being read out loud in front of a judge. Todd's team went low. They dragged in whispers about supposed affairs tied to Kandi. They didn't even try to prove them. They just wanted to make the waters messy. Kandi sat still, not a blink out of place, but her lawyers were clearly fired up. The whole courtroom could tell what was going on. When you can't win clean, you distract, confuse, and stir chaos. Then came the name that completely flipped the energy in that room, Mama Joyce. Even though she wasn't physically there, her presence took over like a storm. Todd's lawyers tried to paint her as the real problem, calling her toxic interference, accusing her of planting seeds of doubt and breaking down the marriage from day one. They even played old reunion clips and interviews where she questioned Todd's motives. But Kandi's team wasn't letting that slide. They hit back with something colder. They said Mama Joyce never distrusted Todd out of jealousy or control. She distrusted him because she sensed opportunity. That single word, opportunity, hung in the air like smoke. Suddenly, every demand Todd was making matched exactly what Mama Joyce had warned about years ago, and the whole courtroom could feel it. The whole case hit a deeper, more painful level once the kids got pulled into it. The energy in that courtroom shifted instantly. No one was ready for how raw it would get. Riley Burruss spoke softly, steady but hurt. She said Todd never really treated her like his own, that she always compared her to Kayla, and that she never truly felt safe or included in a home that was supposed to be her family. Then came Kayla's turn. She was emotional, saying Kandi never fully embraced her either, that she always felt like a visitor in her father's house. The room went silent. It wasn't a screaming match. It was heartbreak on display. Two daughters laying bare years of blended family pain in front of complete strangers. The judge finally had to step in, but the damage was already done. This wasn't just a marriage ending. It was a family revealing cracks that had been there all along. Then, Todd went too far. He asked for DNA tests for the kids. The whole courtroom gasped. Even the judge's expression changed in disbelief. That move wasn't strategy, it was straight up cold. Imagine questioning the paternity of kids who called you dad, who grew up believing in that bond. Whatever sympathy Todd had left vanished right then and there. The air got heavy. You could feel the tension shift for good. From that moment on, nobody in that courtroom was neutral anymore. But the most shocking moment, the one that would echo long after everyone left that room, came at the final hearing. Todd's lawyer tried the same tired defense again, saying the prenup was signed under pressure, that Todd didn't have a choice. The judge turned to Kandi and calmly asked if she had proof to counter it. Kandi didn't argue, didn't raise her voice. She just pulled out her phone, opened a private folder, and pressed play. Suddenly, Todd Tucker's own voice filled the courtroom. "I'm good. I want to sign this. No pressure. I love you. I'm doing the right thing." Just 15 seconds and the entire room froze. Todd's face went pale, his lawyer's pen literally dropped from his hand, and the judge leaned in closer. That short clip shattered everything Todd's case was built on. In one instant, every accusation, every excuse, every performance gone. When the judge finally spoke, her voice was calm. No emotion, no hesitation. Just finality. The verdict hit quick and clean. The prenup challenge was denied. Custody stayed with Kandi, and the divorce was officially finalized. No cheers, no dramatic outbursts, just silence. The kind of silence that only comes when everything's been said and done. Outside the courthouse, Kandi didn't stop for the flashing cameras or the crowd waiting for a quote. She didn't say a word, and she didn't need to. That silence wasn't weakness anymore. It was power mixed with exhaustion. Meanwhile, Todd came out later looking completely thrown off. He wasn't just hurt because the marriage was over. He looked like a man who realized he'd lost control right in front of everyone. The judge, the lawyers, the reporters, they all saw it happen in real time. That day, he didn't just lose his partner, he lost his credibility. But the fallout after court was even worse. Social media detectives went into overdrive, connecting dots that the court didn't even need to touch. Insiders started leaking that Todd's DNA test request wasn't a heat-of-the-moment reaction. It had been written up days before, as part of a calculated move. Fans went back to old episodes, and suddenly jokes that got laughs didn't sound funny anymore. They sounded like red flags. People began noticing how often Todd brought up money, control, and fairness in his conversations. And out of nowhere, Mama Joyce's old warnings stopped sounding like nagging. They started sounding prophetic. Then came reports about side business ventures Todd allegedly kept quiet during the marriage, showing that maybe this wasn't chaos at all. It was a setup, a separation planned down to the smallest detail, wrapped in calm smiles and practiced words. As the dust settled, the cracks in the blended family started showing for everyone to see. Riley didn't sit for interviews, but her online moves said everything. She liked posts about choosing peace over manipulation and shared quotes about walking away from chaos, loud without saying a single word. Meanwhile, Kayla dropped cryptic messages standing by her dad, hinting that people didn't know the full story. The tension between them was obvious. Neither daughter seemed protected, and neither looked like the priority anymore. The judge's earlier words echoed louder than ever. Stability had never really existed in that house. It had just been a performance for the cameras. Todd pulled back from the spotlight, not gone, just regrouping. Suddenly, he had new lawyers, new filings, new moves that felt less about healing and more about revenge. His public silence looked strategic, not reflective. On the flip side, Kandi did the total opposite. She cut off the drama and let her attorneys handle every detail with cold precision. She poured her time into her kids, her work, and her peace. Kandi didn't win this because she shouted the loudest. She won because she finally stopped fighting for someone who had been quietly fighting against her all along. But the saddest part of it all never hit the headlines. It was what happened behind closed doors. The kids finding out about the DNA request. Imagine the confusion, the heartbreak, the questions no adult wanted to answer. That kind of pain doesn't show up in court documents. It lingers in silence, in long nights, and in those moments when trust feels impossible to rebuild.
Bravo paid Kandi for that marriage special. You need to pay her for that divorce special because she gave y'all 11 years of TV gold.
In the end, this whole saga wasn't about love fading. It was about truth finally stepping into the light. The prenup video? That wasn't just a piece of evidence. It was the timestamp marking when the act began. Those custody demands? They weren't about protecting family. They were about power and leverage. The pressure story Todd tried to sell wasn't about emotional pain. It was a move, a tactic. And that DNA request? It wasn't confusion. It was a deliberate hit meant to leave a scar. This divorce didn't break the marriage. It just stripped away the fake shine and showed what had been rotting underneath the surface all along. Some relationships don't fall apart, they just get exposed. And once that kind of truth comes out, there's no hiding it again. It burns too bright, reshaping every memory, every motive, every sweet moment people once believed in. What the world thought was a love story turned out to be a long, careful illusion. When the final papers were signed, it didn't feel like closure, it felt like confirmation, a reminder that while a court can end a marriage on paper, it can't erase the emotional wreckage left behind. So what do you think? Was this a love story gone wrong or a setup from the start? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more tea and truth right here on Gossip Chemistry. I'll catch you in the next one.
Kandi recently posted a collage of photos of herself doing family outings and just being a regular girl in Atlanta. Now, in these images, she did leave this caption, and I'm going to read you the caption here. Now, just above, she says, "This is what I look like when I'm going through something. I show up for my family. I show up for my friends. I show up to handle my business. I show up with a smile. All while on the inside, I'm emotionally broken." In every pic of this video, I was internally dealing with something life-changing that most of the people in the pics with me had no clue of my inner stresses and sadness. This is not being fake. This is just how I deal with things. I internalize and I deal with them alone. I am the poster child for the saying, check on your strong friend because you never know what they're going through. Now she finishes out the caption and says, "I normally don't like sharing stuff like this, but I was listening to this old song and a song is attached to this video." And she goes on to say that I wrote years ago and I felt like it perfectly described how I feel. And I'm not going to sit here and give my personal thoughts on what I believe what was going on in Kandi's marriage because nobody truly knows. But based off of everything that we know, that we see, and all of the speculative rumors about his cheating that we see all across social media, I imagine that Kandi was going through a lot. And the most embarrassing part about it is, one, it's a man, because a man's always going to embarrass you. But two, is that this is Kandi's life, and most of it was probably televised. I just feel like, and I will say this, I do feel like Kandi really set herself up for success, even if the marriage ended by getting that prenup. I felt like the whole time watching her across the Atlanta Housewives and then just watching her through social media, based off of how she managed that marriage, that even though it's going to be hurtful because she did have 2 children with this man, that she's going to be able to get out on this on a brighter side. And why I'm advocating for Bravo, give her a 5-part divorce special, because the way that they were ready to give her a 5-part marriage special, even though most people didn't want her to marry Todd, give her the 5-part divorce special and give her a lot of millions, not a couple. Pay her handsomely, because the way that she, being Kandi, allowed Bravo to walk around and document her marriage, she should be able to get a nice payout as they document this divorce.